begin.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to this 12-part series on the power of your core. As you already know, I'm Dr. Lot from Acupuncture is My Life. And before I get started, I'd like to recommend that you subscribe to our newsletter at www.acupunctureismylife.com to learn more about acupuncture and all that Acupuncture is My Life has to offer. Now, in this episode, I'd like to introduce to you something that many of us are unaware of, and that's how your core actually functions as your second brain, and how acupuncture is great for enhancing the relationship between both your brain and your core. Now, why do I say many of you guys may not be aware that your core actually functions as your second brain? Well, take a second and think. How do you feel after eating a box full of junk food, or after a night or even several nights of consuming moderate to large amounts of alcohol? How do you feel even after skipping several meals? Now, when you stop and think about this, consider the correlation between the after effects of what you've ingested or having not eaten anything as well, and your mindset. Does your level of cognition seem a bit off? Do you feel irritable afterwards? Or are you even lacking in the cognitive area due to lack of nutrition? Have you ever taken a moment to notice how the actual brain communicates with your core and informing it as to what nutrients, I would say, are needed for the brain to function at an optimal level? You see, if most were aware of this fact, they would not eat upwards of 90% of the foods in which they consume on a daily basis. Now, when we ride a motorcycle, we wear a helmet. When we're engaged in some sort of physical combat, we naturally tend to protect our head, don't we? Now, are we open to what we would perceive as garbage input mentally? Now, be careful. I use the word perceive, because what I may consider garbage information, you may not. So I had to make sure that I threw in the word perceive somewhere in it. Now, think about how concerned we get over what goes into our head. So why are we less concerned about what goes into our core? The core is what plays a major role in lifespan. I reviewed cases and have even met some people who were born with poor constitutions as a result of prenatal care and even genetics. And these individuals from a young age ate well and progressed many years in life beyond the average, including lifespan. Now, I've realized this firsthand in one of my early journeys to China, where I sat and listened to a gentleman who was 101 years of age speak of his birth through childhood and how many did not expect him to make it through the first decade of life. The level of wisdom this gentleman possesses is astonishing. Now, many scientists consider our core to be our second brain based on the extensive network of neurons that line our gut and how it communicates with our brain. This massive neural tissue that exists in our core, which is filled with important neurotransmitters, does way more than just digest food. The connection between the brain in our core and the brain in our skull plays a big part in determining our mental state, as well as playing a key role in certain diseases throughout the body. Now, our second brain, that being our core, contains over 100 million neurons, which far exceeds the amount of neurons in our spinal cord or our peripheral nervous system. Our core can actually control core behavior totally independent of our brain. Now, here's the amazing part, and this is why I love acupuncture and Chinese medicine. You see, our core can utilize the vagus nerve to carry information from our core to the brain that's in our skull, but the brain cannot relay information back down to our core in the same manner. Now, the cool part here is how acupuncture needles on certain points in and around the ears can have an effect on the vagus nerve. And in upcoming episodes, I will delve a little deeper into that, as I have been trained in both neuroacupuncture as well as auricular acupuncture. So there are acupuncture points on the frontal lobe area of the head that can influence certain actions of the stomach as well. So this is where this series begins to get pretty interesting. So let's start by showing a little more respect for our second brain by eating right, getting plenty of rest, paying a visit to our acupuncturist from time to time, as well as getting plenty of exercise. And speaking of exercise, Centrella has another great exercise for you guys to tone your core.
Reverse crunches. Hold the legs up. Make a nice number 4, right above the knee, not into the knee. Safety first. Flexing the foot of the leg that you're going to use. I'm going to do this one with my head laying down. So you want to start by pressing your hands down into the mat to give you a little support. You're going to reach up with your hip and then straighten out with the leg. So you're going to reach up with your hip, straighten the leg, reach up with the hip and straighten the leg. Reach up with your hip and straighten the leg. The whole time, make sure that your lower back is pressed gently into the mat. Reverse crunch.
Now don't forget to download the Acupuncture is My Life app from the Google Play Store, as well as subscribe to this channel. And until next time, acupuncture is my life. What's yours?